Let's take a closer look at energy strategy leading up to a race. I know for me, I'm lucky because I get my own special bottle, so I can pretty much practice with whatever fluids I want to, and I don't have to worry about it because I get my own bottle out there. But I know not everyone does. So what's the best way to prepare for that?
Yeah, well, I think the great thing now is most of these races provide you with that information of what their fluid stations are going to have out there. Obviously, every race is going to have water, so that's always an option for you. But I know the different races have all the different drinks out there. I mean, there's so many drinks, Gatorade, Powerade, Cytomax, and all these things. And I think it's important to really, know what they have, and then try it in training. And it's is this something you're going to like? And if not, you got to plan for what you're going to do instead.
Yeah, and then, you see a lot of the gels out there on the marathon course especially. I know I take 2 gels during the race, 1 right on the starting line. Should people be carrying gels, or can they expect to get them out there? Or what should you be? Should you actually eat if you're out there for more than 4 hours?
Well, I think there's a couple factors. I mean, there's 2 factors in getting through an endurance race. Half marathon, the marathons, this is the most important thing to look at. We're dealing with a hydration issue, which is pretty much just water. Our body needs water for all its functions, so that's a huge thing we got to stay on top of. Second factor is carbs, or our energy, transport. Our body can only store about, an hour and 40 minutes or so worth of carbs if we're burning pure sugar to get us from A to B. So we're going to have to supplement with what we have already in our body from our kind of carb loading plan. And that's where these sports drinks and the gels and things like bananas come in. And I think what we need to look at is okay, over the course of that race, we've got to intersperse periods of getting in enough just water or pure fluid versus getting in some of these things like gels.
So for a half marathon, take electrolyte beverage or just water?
Well, I think it's a combination of what you're used to, as well as what's available. A half marathon is one of those races where, hey, if you're going to finish it under an hour and a half, you're going to be pretty good just taking water as long as you're going in, in a pretty normal state. Whereas if you're going to run that half marathon and maybe it's going to take you 2 hours to get done, then I think carbs are going to play an important role in that. And if that's the case, I'm a big fan of getting in those carbs, every 20, 25 minutes of hard exercise.
Yeah, and make sure you practice that as well, because it does take some adjustment, I know, for me to get my stomach used to taking in the beverage every 15, 20 minutes. So sometimes when I'm preparing in practice, I'll go out, I'll drive, I'll drop a bottle every 3 miles. So I'm making sure that I'm practicing that.
Yeah, and so what we look at, we're not really looking at a lot of water, but we're talking, 4 to 6 ounces of water or sports drink. The solution is more like kind of a 5 to 7% solution for carb ratio in the sports drink. I think one of the big things we got to talk about, though, is gels. I know with the sports gels, a lot of people run into trouble with sports gels because they're just getting them out on the race course, or they pack them in their shorts, and they're getting a little tired. Hey, let's rip it open, pull down a sports gel. Well, that's a huge load of sugar into the system in a syrup form. But the problem is, do we got any water in the system to back that up? I've known professional runners that, just their whole body cramped up because they were trying to stay on top of their energy output, but became dehydrated because the body pulled water from the working muscles into the stomach to digest that gel. So, we've got to deal with, if you're going to take that gel, you got to back it up with 4 to 6 ounces of water.
Yeah, so if you're racing over an hour and a half, make sure you're getting in your water every 15 to 20 minutes.